Unicorn Corporation is a place that gathers pioneers from all around the country. We are always hunger for new challenge, new goal. And now we bring to you Super Flat Slab, a new technique and experience that has been with us in recent years. By making this video, we illustrate the process of constructing a super flat slab. Unicorns, our experience drives us forward. This project is a super flat slab on pile with a size of 138 meters in wide and 120 meters in length. The design thickness is 350 mm with 2 layers of welded wire mats. All elements in this slab constructing method, such as casting direction, patching sign, and manpower and machine, were the result of discussion between the owner, consultant, unicorns, and subcontractor. And the result was to divide the slab into 20 construction zones, with the executing process follow 2 directions. Each bag will use 250 to 300 cubic meters of concrete to cover an area of 750 to 1000 square meters. The process will take 5 to 6 hours for concrete casting and 5 to 6 hours for surface finishing. The constructing of a super flat slab including 3 processes. Process 1, preliminary work. Process 2, concrete placement. Process 3, surface finishing. There are several details in every process, but the keywords of each process are listed as you are seeing now on screen. First of all, the preliminary work will have 5 keywords, and we want to emphasize the last one: rail supporter preparation. The preparations to be started with lean concrete surface cleaning. This surface should be cleaned out of every kind of dust. Right after that, a layer of PVC sheet should be laid. This polyethylene film will work as a moisture barrier. It also prevents concrete from losing its water. And now, the bottom layer of welded wire mats will be put in place. On this layer of welded wire mats, the rail supporter relative position will be located. Then, the small wire mats will be installed. This small wire mats barrier will be well fixed to the top layer of the welded wire mats. Next, the T-shaped steel supporter for vibrating street rail will be welded to the 2 layers of welded wire mats. The distance between supporters will be from around 80 to 100 cm. The final touch in making rail supporter is bringing the horizontal bar in place. This bar should be precisely located, for it will play the most important role in creating the perfectly flat slab. On the horizontal bars, the exact position of the rail will be located using a cord. Following the straight line of the cord, we will mark a point on every horizontal bar. Next, the rail will be attached to the supporter by welding. Attention that it will only be welded on one side. This kind of fixing makes it easier to remove the rail after casting. The size of the hollow section that are used to make the rail is decided according to the slab top cover thickness. After the rail is well fixed, the top and the last layer of small wire mesh barrier will be brought in. Then again, the rail straightened and level will be checked to reassure that the slab will have a perfectly straight edge and perfectly flat surface. The second process will be concrete placement with those 5 keywords, and we want to emphasize preparation before casting following 4M principle: material, man, machine, and method. The last keyword, concrete casting. Before installing pump pipe system, we have to study the suitable location for concrete pump machine. Also, top level of lean concrete must be surveyed to get the exact concrete volume to arrange with concrete supplier. A very important task is checking and supervising concrete mixing station to assure the quality of the aggregates, admixtures, and supplying paste. GGC 120 is the chemical admixtures we use in the project with 10 concrete pump trucks. The essential part of this process is that it should be planned, checked, and done using 4M principle: man, material, machine, and method. For manpower, we need 10 workers for concrete casting and 6 workers to run 2 vibratory truss screed. For material, we use concrete grade M400 with 14 plus or minus 2 cm slump. The 2 materials that should be noticed are Sika latex to dam the joint of the previous batch to increase the bone, and a layer of PVC sheet to cover the adjacent places and column so cleaning after casting would be less complicated. On machine aspect, 2 vibratory truss screed, 2 automatic leveler, 2 concrete pumps, and 3 vibrators should be needed. Attention that all equipment need to be checked and pre-operated before casting concrete. Right before casting concrete, the rail level need to be checked the last time. In this stage, a tool so-called level fishing rod will be made to check the top level of flat slab. Now, all the elements of 4M principle are ready. We are all set and good to go. Casting concrete. Concrete could be casted as normal, while workers pan it out to have the initial temporary surface. Notice that the vibrator needs to punch down in absolute vertical direction. The work will be continued until about 2 meters in length of concrete has been casted. The vibratory truss screed will be brought onto the rail. When it operated, 2 or 3 workers need to pan the concrete ahead of the machine to assure the floor surface level. The level fishing rod now will be used to check the level surface with the screed machine has gone by. To create an absolutely flat surface, we have to use a bump cutter to erase all marks and waves with the vibratory truss screed left behind. After removing the middle rail, hand working will be knitted with a magnesium straightedge, leveling the surface. We also have to check the level using the level fishing rod. Now, the casting job will be carried on with all the mentioned steps above. Pay attention that at the edge, hand working with a flow is required to fill and level the edge of the slab. Then a worker will clean the edge with damp cloth before mortar stain started to dry. So on, the concrete casting work will be continued till the end of the batch. Together, we have gone through the concrete casting process. Before we go to finishing process, let's summarize the key point of concrete placement. Firstly, the process needs to be planned, checked, and done using 4M principle: man, material, machine, and method. Secondly, the rod vibrator needs to punch down in absolute vertical direction. The third point is to always check the surface level with the level fishing rod. Another point to notice is to use the bump cutter to create a perfectly flat surface. Next, notice hand working at the edge is to fill, level, and clean it. Last but not least, always check the concrete supply pace to be ready to deal with every problem that could happen to our plant. The final step is finishing the process. The factor that makes the judgment call to the slab quality are the flatness, uniform color, and note and more. But how to make that possible, what to do, when to do, all the questions will be answered in this part of the video. The finishing cannot begin until the slab stops bleeding. Any bleed water will be removed by dragging a heavy rubber hose across slab surface. After the waiting period comes the floating pass. This step can be started when all the bleed water has gone, and the footprint indentation is about 3 to 5 mm. The finishing process will have 3 steps: floating, power troweling, etching, and maintaining, as listed on screen. The first step of floating is to check the slab level again. First floating will be started using a walk-behind trowel machine with a brown blade. Start the first floating pass perpendicular to the direction of last finishing procedure. Each direction will have 3 to 4 solid passes of floating. In total, a single point on the slab surface will be flowed 6 to 8 times. The function of floating is to firstly embed the large aggregate beneath the surface mortar layer. Secondly, to remove slight humps or other imperfections and produce a plant level surface. And finally, compact and further consolidate the surface in preparation for other finishing. On the edge and narrow corner, hand working is required to level and embed the large aggregate. After finishing floating, slab surface level need to be checked again. Touching the surface leave fingerprints, but the fingertips are not stained, then it's time to start troweling. Power troweling begins immediately after floating. For first troweling, a plate at least 10 to 12 cm wide is preferred, and it should be kept as flat against the surface as possible. For additional troweling, smaller trowels are used, and these are tilted slightly up to the direction for travel or increasing the pressure on the trowel. On the edge and narrow corner, hand-working finishing is needed to ensure that there are no waves, humps or holes remaining on the slab surface. To summarize the finishing process, we need to concentrate on those following notices. The final job is maintaining and protecting the flat slab. First, we will spray anti-zone liquid which will create a crystalline film that will prevent the slab surface from small cracks, moisture losing and dust. After maintaining the flat slab for 3 days, we remove the rail. The T-shaped supporters shall be hammered down. The rail will be removed by twisting one end of it. We use flat line and warning sign to protect the floor. Thank you for your attention and staying with us all along. Unicorn Corporation, our experience rises forward.